Hey guys, welcome back to Rob's Arcade. I'm your host, Rob French, and thanks for tuning in to what I hope is going to be a very cool episode, at least a little interesting. But it's not going to be a very long episode. I'm going to just kind of jump really quick into something and talk to you guys a little bit about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Marvel's newest streaming series on Disney Plus. Now, this isn't going to be like an episode that's going to directly like point out did you sees or little Easter eggs. There's not going to be a whole lot of like background information on characters, and I'm not going to break down like every little flag or meaning into like every license plate in this show. Now, there are episodes out there on YouTube you can look up, and they do a much better job of that kind of stuff. But I did want to jump into my own personal theories and some of the ideas I had about the show going into now the third episode. And if you haven't watched the first 3 episodes, I wouldn't watch this video. I'm not going to do a whole lot of spoilers, but I'm going to talk about some characters. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, don't watch this video. Go watch The Winter Soldier and come back to me. Now, I can't help but feel like The Winter Soldier is going to be a lot like WandaVision was for setting up more events and some characters in the MCU and just kind of expanding on the already big universe that Marvel's kind of established. It's kind of sad that we only got 1 season of WandaVision, but we got to the end, we kind of see that there's more story to be told, most likely to be picked up in the cinematic universe with like Doctor Strange's sequel in the Madness of the Multiverse and some other films, scheduled to come out here in the next couple of years. We also got some characters introduced, as well as I kind of want to say the Scarlet Witch. I mean, up until this point, she's just been like Wanda. I feel like we actually got the Scarlet Witch now as a character in the MCU, as well as we got back the Vision in his all-white garb, which is the outfit I was familiar with growing up with the comics of him in the 90s. And we also got introduced into Agatha, as well as the 2 twins that the Avenger couple has in the comic books. I'm sure there's some other characters in there that were introduced as well. But I want to talk about some of the characters that get introduced into like I said, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, because it seems like every week this is just a melting pot of like name drops and cameos. In the very first episode, of course, we got John Walker, aka the new Captain America, who's really aka, I want to say US agent, because he's got the A on his outfit, and I kind of feel like at some point we're going to get the carpet pulled from under us and we're going to find out that he's really not Captain America. He's going to be the US agent of this MCU. We also got introduced to his sidekick, Battlestar, as well as the first replacement chronologically to Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. Now, he's very important, I feel like, in the story and where I'm going with the title of this, The Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Wolverine, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Now, we've also got some really cool villains being brought in with the Flag Smashers and the leader, Carly Montagthau. I can't pronounce the last name, but in the comics it's Carl, and they went with a female, which I'm not really hating on. I think her name is oh gosh, what is it, Erin something? She's a great actress. I'm really loving her. Her name is Erin Kellyman, dude. Come on. No, actually, I have a friend named Erin Kelly. I think that's what threw me off. I was like, Erin Kelly, that's not right. Wait, hold on. What's going on? Brain stopped. Anyway, don't forget to wear a mask, guys. Back to the show. Great actress. I'm really loving her. Great job in the Solo movie, and just really looking forward to seeing more of her work in this series. Then we also got the Power Broker that was just recently introduced as well, which is probably where the U.S. agent got his powers from. And we're finding out that there's a lot of, super soldiers running around that, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier are going to have to kind of like clean up. Now, this starts to kind of lean towards where I'm going with the Wolverine, because I feel like not necessarily the Wolverine is going to be the next cameo or the next name drop we're going to get in the series, but I feel like we're going to start to get closer to Wolverine becoming a part of the MCU, and I think this series may introduce, if not the name, the character, or some elements, something that will later lead to finally getting a Wolverine in the MCU. I have a few reasons for that. I'm going to go ahead and just give the first one right now, as well as some cool names and some cool characters that we've gotten from this new series. We've also been introduced to Madripoor, which is a fictional city in the Marvel Comics, and I wanted to wait till it was actually introduced in the series before I did this video. There was some ideas that the series was going to start to introduce Madripoor and start doing some cool, stories there. And Madripoor is really important because from the very beginning, Wolverine has a lot of stories. I think Save the Tiger is one of the big stories that revolves around that city of Madripoor. But this comic here mentions it, as well as the very first issue of Wolverine. I mean, I think he goes to Madripoor in the very first issue of Wolverine, if I'm not mistaken. So right now we've already got the city where this famous character likes to hang out. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see him in the background hanging out having a drink somewhere, but you never know. Secondly, we're starting to look at government manipulation as far as like soldiers go, and that's basically how Wolverine gets his adamantium covering on his bones. He's already got the super healing factor and the bone claws, but the government takes him one step further, makes him completely like just indestructible. Now there's already some rumors that Chris Evans will be coming back to fight the Wolverine, and a lot of people are speculating, well, how are they going to do that? He's already passed on, he's old. But some of my friends and I are thinking that this could be something that's done in like a flashback kind of a sequence. Because not only do we have the Captain America frozen in ice, but we also have the Captain America that travels back in time at the end of Endgame. So there is a possibility that this Wolverine could meet up with Steve Rogers in the past somewhere. And I feel like that would be a really great way to do the Wolverine series. If they're going to do a new series, they should definitely make it like a Marvel kind of period piece, semi like a Quantum Leap type deal, where we could kind of experience Marvel through the years of like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and kind of get a taste of what it was like, similar to what we got from Captain Marvel, seeing the Marvel Cinematic Universe take on the 90s. Now, again, with Isaiah Bradley being introduced, we know that not only was like Hydra experimenting and doing things, but that the US government continued after Captain America and probably went a little too far with some of their experiments, trying to create like the perfect soldier. So again, that's why I believe that we could get a segue into Wolverine. Maybe a case file, a little blip on the screen, Logan, Patch, James Howlett, some kind of a name drop maybe in there somewhere. And then the third and the final reason is just because, well, the Marvel MCU is so rooted in the Avengers and the S.H.I.E.L.D. Agency. And even though the S.H.I.E.L.D's kind of dissolved, again, Wolverine has been a member of both the Avengers and served with S.H.I.E.L.D. before he worked with the X-Men. So again, they could do some really cool flashback sequences showing Wolverine perhaps working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and doing some things, maybe even trying to bring back in the original Captain America. Because I can't imagine that Captain America just went back to his normal life dancing with Peggy in the living room, and that S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't know he was existing in that time. I mean, they would probably want him to go on missions, and I can't imagine that they would just kind of like let him go. So maybe this rumored fight between the Wolverine and Captain America is S.H.I.E.L.D. sending in the Wolverine to bring Captain America back in. It just, who knows? And this Captain America fight might not even be Chris Evans. Maybe this fight between Captain America and the Wolverine that's rumored to happen is actually Isaiah Bradley's Captain America. And that would be a really cool fight sequence to see as well, which may play out in a flashback sequence of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like I said, Marvel rarely introduces any one character or any one event without it leading into something larger. I still flash back to, again, the WandaVision series. I mean, who knew that Monica, this little girl from Captain Marvel, would grow up to be, a new hero in her own right. So the little characters, the sidekick from Iron Man 3, could be one day the Iron Lad, they're speculating. So again, just, you never know what you're going to get with these Marvel series. So just as a 40-year-old comic book reader and somebody who still reads comics and has been for 30 years, looking at where this series, I could definitely see Wolverine making his way into the MCU, which I think is right now every fanboy's, dream. And then real quick before I go, it would also be really interesting to see, I guess, who they would cast for the new Wolverine, because so many people, have their heart set on Hugh Jackman, and it's kind of hard to, fill those shoes. Same with like Robert Downey Jr. These guys, like, they represent these characters so perfectly. It would be interesting though to see if they couldn't get Hugh Jackman back for just one last go at it. It would be kind of interesting, and I mentioned doing like a flashback series. I think we've all seen what they can do, aging characters down. I mean, gosh, they made Michael Douglas look like he was in his 30s when they did Ant-Man, and it would be really cool maybe to age Hugh Jackman down to his 30s, to his 20s, do some flashback sequences, and then introduce him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe at his current age as kind of like the old man Logan Wolverine of this universe. And I think that's another thing too that's kind of neat, because the Marvel's already talking about this, got these kind of multiple universes now, which was established again in WandaVision, where we have the kid Boner, who was the Flash, or not the Flash, excuse me, the Quicksilver, wrong comic book company, dude. He was Quicksilver in the X-Men universe, but here in the Avengers MCU universe, he was just some random guy, Ralph Boner, I think was his name. So it could be interesting to have the idea that in the X-Men universe you have the Old Man Logan movie where he's kind of played out his story and done his thing, but maybe we can get Hugh Jackman back one more time in the MCU universe. So anyway, guys, just a little fan theory that I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys have been keeping up with the series, and if anything else kind of drops into my head and I want to talk about with you guys, I will. So look forward to that, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, please. I'd love to hear back from you guys, and until next time, don't spend your quarter anywhere else. Later. Dude, you must be tripping too. There's like another connection to the Wolverine. In this last episode, we also get the Wakandan. Like, like they're introducing so many new characters, but they keep bringing in like old characters and like, reconnecting this universe. And, they've brought back Zemo, and they've brought back like Sharon Carter. We got James Rhodes. Hopefully we'll get some more War Machine. I don't know. But in the last episode, again, I'm not trying to give you any spoilers, but they introduce some characters from Wakanda. So as we know, Wolverine's metal on his bones is a combination of metals, and it's an alloy, and part of that is that vibranium that we get from Wakanda. Wow, man, I can't believe I didn't even think about that. Just sitting there like, snapping my cousin about some of this stuff, and here we go, it like just pops into my head. Man, this is so cool. All right, guys, I'm gone for real. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time, don't spend your quarter anywhere else. And this is it. I'm gone this time for real. Later.